gets put into that local bank, the next day it's gone to another state where the headquarters is. So that bank can't make loans on the deposit of their financial transactions, even though it's Federal Reserve notes. So there's no wealth, even in Federal Reserve notes, being built in the community. It's gone. It will drain community. And that's all that kind of thing disappears with gold and silver. People that work hard and build wealth don't lose wealth in real money.
This is part 2 of a 3-part series of interviews with Mr. Charles Lewis. He's a board member at UPMA, the United Precious Metals Association, the bullion bank up in Utah that lets everyday people like me and you use gold and silver to conduct our everyday transactions. He goes into even more detail during this segment regarding money, regarding precious metals, and what UPMA has to offer to you. Don't forget to watch the 3rd and final part. It'll be out soon.
I want to back up to something you said earlier, because I think it's really important. And correct me if I'm wrong on this, please, Charles, but what I heard you say, or what I felt you say, was UPMA, the spirit or the idea behind it wasn't as a vehicle necessarily or primarily for people to invest in gold and silver, but that it was more established as a vehicle for people to be able to maintain their value by having their money in silver and gold, but really to also be able to conduct transactions with silver and gold. Is that accurate?
That's
I want to say one more thing before I forget, because I think it's a key point. UPMA is a co-op or not-for-profit, however you want to say it. It's so important for people to realize, like, there isn't a small group or one family or anyone who's profiting from this, and that explains. And I think you said this, but I think it's worth repeating. That explains why, like, the zero spread policy between what you can buy for and sell for. Obviously, the market price of the metal and the premiums will affect that, but that's these co-ops or not-for-profits. That's the reason why that this was. That's why that's the case, and why you're able to conduct business in the manner in which you do.
And a lot of people say, well, you're on the board and you get paid. No, I don't get paid. Well, I take that back. We rotate 3-year terms. Not everybody leaves all at once, because we wouldn't have continuity and know what's going on. Sure. And you can be reelected, but you completely, kind of like the federal government, when a new president comes in, you basically just hand in a resignation. Whether you get it accepted or not is another thing. But when your term ends, it's over. When the term starts all over, you might be assigned. Well, they might want to keep you, but you might be assigned to another kind of position or job. The bottom line is, in my last 3 terms, and I'm starting my 4th term, the members elect and support by election the board. The board is not paid, except, I got to kind of tell you right here, open to the world. Our last board meeting, the executive committee, through bylaw changes, decided that the board's members would get paid for a meeting. So a fraction of a gold coin was given to them that was worth about $40. So when we met for the one meeting, we got paid something like $40 or $50. That's, in all the 10 plus years I've been there, that's all I've gotten.
So there's a group of, what I'm sensing is there's a group of passionate people behind this. Okay.
We'd like to thank our sponsor, First Mining Gold. They're a Canadian gold developer with 2 world-class projects in Canada. They also have a handful of other projects. When you total up all the gold in their resources, it comes to over 12 million ounces. They're worth checking out. I'll put a link to the company's website in the description below.
Another question. well, let me back up. I think it's important to bring up as well. Obviously, there has to be some revenue coming in, right, to pay the and that's accomplished, and it's it's very clearly explained on the website, but that's accomplished by monthly membership fees, which are based upon the amount of gold or silver that you're holding in your account. And the way that I saw it was, if you the more you have in your account, the lower the fees are. Is that
basically that's a good way to
accurate?
put it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Now, go ahead.
Well, and then a big question I got from a lot of people was, let's say I put money in and get my gold and silver. I have to say that, and I want to use some of it for a vacation, right? Can I get a checkbook? Can I get a debit card? And then I'm going to say one more thing, and then I promise I'll zip my lips. But the way I understood it was, if I do that, if I get like the prepaid debit card, or it's like a prepaid debit card or a credit card, that if I'm going to go on vacation and I think I'm going to need $2,000 over the next week, that I would first, I guess, either online or via phone, call UPMA and say, hey, I want to liquidate X amount of my silver or gold, and then that money is loaded into the debit card or into some way that I can write a check.
Sure.
I'm be a man of my word and zip my lips and let you explain.
Well, our system today, our bank today would be of very little value to anybody in the world that we have, right? In my life, I can remember sitting on the farm I grew up in, and a black and white TV in the living room, no air conditioning, and we had a whole whopping 3 channels. They were all black and white too. And so on Saturday night, we'd watch either The Mummy, Frankenstein, that kind of Dracula, and get scared to death, never want to watch it again, turn it off until Aunt Maisie came down the stairs in her robe, floating with her long gray hair, scaring everybody to death,
All right.
So the bottom line then is, yeah, in those days, we didn't have to order anything, you had to go get this great big old thick book to order out of called Sears Roebuck,
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's how quickly, now I'm not that old, I'm older, but I'm not that old. I mean, it sounds like centuries, doesn't it? Today we had to keep up with, we have to there's a technology out there, let's take advantage of it. So you can hand off all these silver coins you want. We can be a local facility for you, and that would be good, if you're local. But what about people outside of that area? Well, that's the deposit that you made now needs to be spendable. And so here's how it works. And we've got all kinds of tools like this. And I'm going to thank Walmart for this being possible. And I haven't shopped at Walmart for 25 years. It's just my, I'm not going to support China. So anyway, bottom line is, when you get this money into the account, now how do you spend it? Well, we went not to a bank, we went to a vendor. The vendor that could give us an ATM card is not a bank card. Now, how is that possible? Many years ago, Walmart put ATM machines in their lobby. They didn't ask anybody's permission. They just went to their cash register and pulled out a bunch of money, stuck it in this machine and shoved it over by the door, and offered a service. And the banks went, whoa, you can't, whoa your horses, Walmart. You can't do, this is a banking service. It went to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court says, Walmart can do this. This is not a banking service. Click, and opened up the door for ATM service companies that weren't banks. The largest in the world today, is TrueLink. We have a contract with them to issue ATM cards, and TrueLink has a contract with Visa. Now, if Visa charges $2, there's going to be an extra $1 for TrueLink in it. Okay, so yeah, you're going to probably pay $3, $3.50. Now, I've seen some locations in tourist areas that are TrueLink take a regular card and just really jab you good for getting cash, right?
Right.
That's not the point. That's not what we're trying to do. We're just trying to pay TrueLink their fee, right?
Gotcha.
Now, where can you go with this card? The entire world.
Okay.
Anybody in the world can open up an account. And I can't tell you which group, but there's a very large group of people that have been concerned about their parishioners, their members of their church being cut off financially because of wars right now.
Mhm.
That church asked for help. That's the kind of thing we want. We want to be able to provide fair transactions for people around the world. And another thing too, then, is once you put that money in your account, it's not automatically attached to the card. We have those 21 steps of security between the front door and the vault, but we have some other account transaction protection. And when you put, say, 1,000 US Federal Reserve notes in there, and we convert it to gold or silver or both, whatever you want, we don't attach that to your card. You might get your card. Now, here's how I suggest people do this. Open up in a free account and pay, I don't know, it's either $15 or $20, something like that, to get the ATM card. And if you don't want to use it or aren't planning on using it, don't activate it. There will be no monthly charge, right?
Mhm.
No, just keep it in hand because you've got it, right? It's
Right.
kind of like get it in your possession so that there's no, I mean, right now we don't have control over mailing. Look what's happening. I mean, the other day we had somebody get mad and they mowed down the mailboxes at the post office with their car. I mean, come on, it's crazy out there, And I'm
Right.
going, oh my gosh, and I've even had FedEx boxes stolen at the UPS store. I mean, it's crazy. So
Mhm.
the bottom line is get that ATM card in your hand and know that even if it was stolen, they can't get anything till you get either online and attach it or call UPMA, give them your secret code and say,
Right.
move that $1,000 over to my card for me.
Okay, but
They
you
will-
have to do that. If it does function more like a prepaid card. Is that an accurate
Well, it's
way
not,
to-
yeah, I guess you could say that, but we have a service. Let's say you're going to use $1,000 a month. We can automatically, we have a program that will top it off for you. So
Gotcha.
we'll preload. You got an option to preload it without you calling at a
Right.
certain amount every month,
Okay.
and then not to do that.
Okay, but it's not a situation where I'm out on a Friday night with my wife and we decide to go to a super fancy dinner for $200 that I can pull out the card, pay for the dinner. I have to have first done the transaction with the gold and silver. It's not, it doesn't, let's see if I can explain this more accurately. It's not like I can go run a $200 transaction and that would then trigger.
It's just like it's just like a checkbook. You better make sure the
Okay.
money's in the account before you write the check.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like that. Only
Yeah.
we're easier. It's an easier transaction. You can do it online. You can do it in person.
Right.
Make a call. And another thing too is, if you're in business and you want to use this card, the nice thing about it is we have a $20,000 a day limit.
Okay.
So
Wow.
it's a lot. There's a lot
A
you
lot.
can get. I mean,
And you bring up a great point. It is kind of like a checkbook, right? Like when I still write checks. I had to order new checks just the other night.
Sure.
Thinking maybe this is the last time I'm ordering checks in my life, but nonetheless, I need to make sure that money's in that account. So I mean, I guess in theory, this process that you described is pretty normal in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it is. And
Right.
basically, what we are not is money exchange vendors or in the system of the Fed. So in other words, when you write a check and it goes through the clearinghouse,
Yeah.
we don't have clearinghouse rights. We
Right.
don't want clearinghouse rights. All those features are Federal Reserve stuff.
Okay.
They're not even Treasury stuff. That's
Right.
just Federal Reserve. So we don't have that.
Okay.
Now,
Two-
let's talk about the algorithm of how much you would get for your money. By the way, let's say we freeze the cost and spot and premium of gold and silver.
Mhm.
If you buy $1,000 worth of it and you go, oh my gosh, I forgot I got to pay $1,000 bill, and you want that money right back,
Yeah.
you'll get every bit of it. It's not like a coin dealer. You're not going to be getting all of it back. He's going to
That's the
take it.
zero
Yeah.
spread
There's
policy.
no profit from it. That's not our thing. It's not what
Yeah.
we're trying to do. We're trying, and it's a member thing. So we're making this possible for you and me
Yeah.
to do business. And now we can get a lot more into the technical aspects, but you and I can do business now privately through a system that's been established where I pay you gold and silver with technology, never get my card out either, and it never hits any of the banks. And they don't even know the transaction even happened. And by the way, you were talking about the limits of 10,000 and so forth. That's been changed. We had somebody that was rolling over their 6-digit retirement, and they wanted to build a house, so they were going to be needing in a few months, 300,000-400,000. Okay. Well, that was problematic before because we couldn't roll that much. That's gone.
Okay.
We can handle that kind of thing now. So we're pretty fluid for people to be able to move in and out of vehicles, and their 401ks can be put in there. And the reason is we have a trust department. And the trust department is the navigator from one jurisdiction to the other for us. So you and I have a trustee whose job is to beat everybody up, called the Federal Reserve, and keep us safe from all those other monsters out there.
Right. Can I circle back and ask just one more question about the transactional?
Okay.
If I'm out, if it's midnight and I'm out with my wife and we decide we want to spend some of our silver and gold, can I only convert it during business hours? Is it 24 hours a day?
24 hours a day, anywhere in the world, that the people that will take the card are functioning. Now, if you go to the restaurant and when you got through, the power and the lights go out, guess what?
Right. Exactly. Okay, but it's not like I have to, it's pretty instantaneous. I mean, if I have the card and I want to go spend, $2,000, I can go online, I imagine.
Because we still think in US dollars, there's something to remember. The values on gold go up and down, but they don't.
Sure.
They said here, I mean, a silver coin still gets what it pretty much does today as it did 2,000 years ago.
Right.
It'll get you a good meal, right? And the gold coin will get you a really nice, maybe not a Trump suit, but it will get you a nice suit, tie, $100 tie, pair of shoes, boots, all that. Anyway, the bottom line is this: when you end up having the money moved onto the ATM card, now it doesn't fluctuate in US dollars. You will, whether the gold and silver goes up and down the next day or two, doesn't make any difference. You have it denominated now in US dollars, and it will be 1,000 until you use it. Gotcha. I just wanted you to know, because some people think, well, if it goes down, what happens when I to my card? No, it stays whatever the US, because we move it from this jurisdiction over into spendable US dollars for the transactions. So
and you can do that anytime, 24 hours a day.
24 hours a day. And you can go to the ATM and get cash too.
Okay.
I mean by that, currency, paper stuff.
Right. In terms of physical locations, it's in Utah, correct?
It's in Utah.
Okay.
Alpine, Utah.
Okay.
Yep. Now we just opened 2 more branches in Utah.
Oh, wow.
And we will be, we're currently looking at a vault in the Midwest. That used to be a former bank.
Okay.
And there's a lot of things in transition right now because of all like the bills in Missouri. That might put a UPMA vault right at the capital for the state and the people. And I talked to the newly elected treasurer of Arkansas, and he's wanting to put gold and silver into recognizes money. Now they've taken the taxes off of it, but they haven't moved into the legal tender part. And he's very interested. I got the template for him. And in Arkansas, all he has to do is stamp it by edict, because Arkansas is literally not needing that. They're ready to go, except for the treasurer introducing it and putting it. So in fact, he asked me to help him if when we get to that point. He just got elected, but he was a 20-year state representative before he became treasurer, and he's excited about it. And it's exploding all across the country with people that understand how we've been stolen from. I mean, it's incredible when you begin to hear, even if you were to only keep Federal Reserve notes local, at least local Federal Reserve notes in your bank could then make it more lendable. But if you go and have some national chain like, I won't say, I don't want to be bad about, saying Casey's or something. When that money gets put into that local bank, the next day it's gone to another state where the headquarters is. So that bank can't make loans on the deposit of their financial transactions, even though it's Federal Reserve notes. So there's no wealth, even in Federal Reserve notes, being built in the community. It's gone. It will drain community. And that's all. That kind of thing disappears with gold and silver. People that work hard and build wealth don't lose wealth in real money.